Hello, today I'll be coding these cube walkers. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to have a cube. And it's going to have 6 faces. So 6 times cube face. Now, we're going to set an edge length, something like this. And then we're going to have our cube, face, and we're going to give it a width and a height and a background. So yeah, this looks pretty nice. Now let's create our actual assembly. Let's minimize this. Here I'm going to have some styles for all divs. So I'm going to have position, absolute, and now I'm going to have here everything is going to be within an assembly. So assembly, I'm going to put this within, so like this. This is going to be top 50%, left 50%, and it's going to have some transforms on it. So transform, rotate X, something like this, and a rotate Y, something like this. And I think this is it for the entire assembly. Here I'm also going to want to set a margin that's minus half the edge length. Okay, and one more thing that I'm going to do here is on the body, that's where I'm actually going to set that background. So this background here, I'm going to set it on the body, and here on the div I'm going to set background inherit, and on the cube I'm going to set a box shadow that's going to be inset, and 0 offsets, 0 blur, and 2 pixels, and it's going to be white. Okay, now on the generic div I'm going to set something else. I'm going to set a custom property which is an angle and is 0 degrees by default, and it's set within a loop. So for I from 1 to 4, I'm going to have nth child I plus 1, and they're going to have this angle. It's going to be I times 90 degrees. Okay, now one more thing I'm going to set here is transform style is preserve 3D. Okay, and I think I can pretty much collapse this. And here I'm also going to have a loop that's going to be for I from 1 to 6, because I have 6 faces, and I'm going to have nth child I plus 1, and here I'm going to set a rotation custom property, but first I'm going to set here a transform that's a rotation custom property, which is nothing by default, so unquote of just empty. Then it's going to have translate Z half the edge length, so 0.5 times L, and this rotation is going to depend on I. So if I is smaller than 4, then it's going to be a rotate around the X or Y axis. It doesn't really matter, we just need to switch between them. So it's going to use that angle custom property. And otherwise it's going to use a rotation around the other axis, so the x-axis, and in this case it's going to be power of -1 to I times 90 degrees, and this gives us our cube. And we can also set back face visibility hidden so that we avoid problems in Firefox. And I think that with this we can collapse the cube face. And something else that we're going to do is we're going to have two cubes. So 2 times, and everything else is going to be here. And for the second cube, so that's going to be last child, we're going to have an offset. So that's going to be a unit offset, and this is going to be let's say 1.2 times the edge length. So here I'm going to have margin top okay, and I'm also going to have a transform origin, which is going to be minus half this unit offset, half this unit offset, and then I'm going to have a set of keyframes, which is going to be flip. So here I'm going to have, let's set something else here, a unit percentage. So this is going to be 5%, and a unit animation duration, which let's say is going to be half a second. Okay. Now, when I'm going to set here, I'm going to have 0%. I'm going to have that base percentage, and this is going to be transform none. So I'm going to take this, copy paste it, and here I'm going to have 100% minus, and this is going to be 100%, and it's going to be rotate half a turn. Okay, so now if I set this animation flip, that animation duration is in out infinite. So this should work now. Okay, so it does. So this works, and I can collapse the whole cube. And here within the assembly, I'm actually going to have 4 times, and that's going to be a mover. So mover, and within each mover I'm going to have a switch, and all these things starting here, they're going to be contained inside. So if I'm going to have a mover and a switch, so mover, and I'm going to have a set of keyframes, move, and I'm also going to have a switch, and I'm going to have a set of keyframes here, switch. Now for this mover, first of all, I'm going to need to set something else, and I'm going to have a multiplier. So let's say something like this, and then I'm going to have a maximum offset. So this maximum offset is going to be half this multiplier times the unit offset. So for this mover, I'm going to have a transform that's a rotate y, that custom property A, so the angle, and it's going to be a translate 3D, and I'm going to have the maximum offset 0 and the maximum offset with minus. So this should work. Okay, this looks nice. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take this volume and put it here. So 2, and it's going to be something pretty similar here, except it's not going to be the same translate. It's going to be slightly different. And here I'm going to have an animation, and this animation is going to be move 2 times m times that base animation duration, and it's going to use a steps function, m and infinite. So this should be working. Okay, now one more thing I need to do here is have a switch, and it's going to be animation switch 2 times that base animation duration steps 1 infinite. Okay, so this is going to be 50%, and it's going to have translate, transform, translate, okay, minus a unit offset, rotate 90 degrees. So this should do it. And yeah, we got the desired result. This is it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or any suggestions for future videos, just drop them in the comments below or send them on Twitter. And until next time.